What is going on, everybody? My name is the Psychedelic Kid, and today we got the next episode in the series of how to climb out of blah, 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 blah. Today we're going to be climbing out, I'm going to be telling you how to climb out of silver elo. So to get to silver, to gold, been doing it for a lot of seasons, super easy to me now, and I want to give you guys the tips on how to do it. So see you in there. So guys, the first thing I wanted to talk about is lanes and champions. Now, a lot of these things are going to be similar to my last video because silver really isn't much different than iron. I mean, you're going to get a little bit better players. You're going to have people CSing a little bit better. Their macro is going to be a little bit better, but ultimately it's going to be pretty much the same. You're going to get garbage teammates, don't know what they're doing, and you're going to have to carry the game. So you want to pick 1 to 3 champions. I suggest stick with 1. And just play those champions nonstop if you want to climb. Now, you know, if you want to have fun in the game and do your thing, by all means do you. But if you really want to climb, you want to play certain champions and learn matchups so that way you can get ahead based off of the matchup you're playing. So you want to say you're mid lane and you like Syndra a lot. Only play Syndra. Even if you get counterpicked, just play Syndra. It's going to suck for a while, but you'll eventually learn how to play against your counters and do well so you can carry the game. Same thing with lanes. You want to stick to 1 lane. Have a backup lane that you can play okay with, but for the most part, stick to 1 lane. It's going to be so much easier for you to climb if you stick to the lane you know. Every lane's different in its own little way. So you want to pick a lane, you want to stick to it. That way you can master that lane, get better at it, and be ahead of the competition in it. So guys, the next thing I wanted to talk about, and this goes for all elos, but probably really important once you start playing in silver, is chat. And no, not Twitch chat, which is somehow equally as toxic. I'm talking about in-game chat. Now you guys want to turn it off completely. It is useless in silver. There's no point in using it. Players will feed. They will be toxic to you. And if you say anything to them, they will mess up your game. 9 times out of 10. Silver is probably, in my opinion, one of the most toxic elos you can play in. Now, every elo is toxic, but silver is by far one of the worst. You have a bunch of people. It's a majority of the league community. They think they deserve gold. They want that free skin. They think they deserve plat. They think they deserve diamond, but they don't. And they're mad because they're not getting there. And it's their own fault. They're not focusing on the game. They're worried about what people are saying about their gameplay, which ultimately doesn't matter. You're never going to talk to that person again in your life. You play a game in silver and you have your teammates flaming you and you let it tilt and you lose the game, all that's going to stick from that game forward is the LP loss you have. Not the player, not the words. You're going to forget what he said in a week. It's pointless to have chat on. Turn it off. If you really want to climb, turn it off and just focus on you. Focus on you getting better. You know, some games you're going to feed. Some games you're going to do really well and your team. Most games you're going to do really well and your team's going to feed. But just turn off chat. You typing to them on what they can do better or what you think they can do better is not helpful at all in silver. They don't care. They're stuck there and they're never going to improve because they care about what you're doing and what everyone else is doing and saying about them more than they do improving themselves. So turn off chat and just progress. It's not going to be useful. You can, you know, even if you're using it, you say, oh, I'm using it for objectives. I like to tell them, oh, I'm heading to Drake after this. It's not worth it. Just turn it off. Silver players are horrible. Get it out of here and keep it off. I mean, really, it's never helpful. I mean, sometimes in higher elo, it helps me, but I can not tilt off of what people say because I really don't care. So turn it off. Don't talk to them. Don't engage in what they're saying. Do you and use your pings. That's all that matters. And that's going to bring me to my next point, which is laning. Now, A lot of the things I covered in the bronze and iron video for laning are going to be exactly the same for silver. You're going to have players, they're going to CS a little bit better, they're going to trade a little bit better, they're going to know maybe a little bit better of wave management, but not really. Most silver players are pretty much the same. They're just a little bit better at their champions and carrying. So what's going to give you the competitive edge aside from wave management, and there's tons of YouTube videos for wave management. I'm not going to go into detail, but I suggest if you want to climb, you look those up because they are massively helpful. They will help you in ways you don't even believe. It is such a crucial thing to learn if you want to climb in this game. But the small thing that's going to help you be better than most silver players is trading. Now, what I mean by trading is dealing damage and accepting less damage without going all in or getting a kill. And this is really why I stress to play 1 or 2 champions, because you're going to learn a bunch of different matchups. You're going to learn how well you can trade against these matchups without taking damage yourself. And it's going to give you a huge advantage if you can learn how to trade. I mean, if you go in and say you trade him 2 times and he does no damage back because you're better at trading, he's already half health, maybe less, and you pushed him out of lane. Now you can move up and be closer to the front of your wave so you can deny him CS and he has to stay back. You know, maybe he will back, and then you can push the wave into his turret, making him lose XP. Maybe he makes a mistake and he's like, okay, I'm half health, but I can go in and trade a little bit, and then you punish him and you get the kill. You want to focus on these small trades in silver. You want to focus on how you can do damage without receiving any or little damage back, and just keep doing that until you can get the wave in a way that you can control it and outsmart your opponent. And guys, the next thing I want to talk about is items. Now, just like in my escaping bronze and iron video, it's going to be very similar. You want to best build to overcome what you're up against. op.gg, great website. Bunch of other great websites. Professor, whatever you use, great builds. But it's not entirely helpful if you're not building the best you can to the situation you have at hand. So if they have a lot of healing on their team, you might not have a Thornmail or Bramble Vest or Executioners or whatever against the team you're playing against. You're pretty much wasting an item slot when you could be buying those items and benefiting your team more and yourself more later in the game. So you just want to adapt to what you're up against. And another thing is in silver, you want to start learning to half buy. You want to look at what you're up against and start buying early items. You don't have to buy the full item. Say you're top lane and you're against an Aatrox. You know you're going to build Thornmail, but that's your like 3rd or 4th item in the game. You want to buy a Bramble Vest earlier in the game, maybe even 1st item, to help you lane better and get ahead. That way you can carry later in the game. You don't have to finish the item then. You can still finish the 3rd or 4th item, but you want to have that base item to best overcome your laner so you can get ahead. Say you're playing mid lane and they are AP and you're an assassin and you're all in. You want to maybe build the start of Maul. Just that 1st item to give you that spell shield. That's going to help a lot in lane. You can still finish your mythic item and then get that item. You can still finish other items and get that item. But you want to focus on more what you're up against and what you're going to build later and do half buys. That's going to help you win your lane better and then build into that item later in the game to get the full effects. And guys, the last thing I wanted to talk about is macro. So, just like in the bronze and iron, going to be very similar with a couple of small changes. Your teammates are going to be garbage at this. And you just need to learn what you can do to best get your team ahead. So, say you are winning team fights, you're carrying your team, and you're doing well in team fights, you're killing more of them than they're killing you, and you're getting objectives. Keep grouping with your team. Go to the objectives. Make sure you get the objectives. don't overforce it either. You don't have to overforce. A lot of silver players and bronze and iron and gold and plat, every player, they like to overforce, especially me. I am the king at overforcing. But you don't want to overforce when you don't have to. So if you can take a Drake, you know you're going to win the team fight, you know you're going to play it well, go with your team, take that Drake. Now, say the opposite is true. You did really well in lane, you're playing well, and your team is just garbage. They're not helpful. They're not doing anything. Don't take the team fights with your team. It's useless. It's pointless. You're going to die. Yes, you may get a couple of kills and look better in the stats, but it's pointless to do. You want to focus on what objectives you can trade for what they are taking. So say they're going to take Drake. You know you can't team fight it. You're not going to win the team fight. Go top lane. Push top lane out. Get a couple of turrets. And then play it safe, Look at what the state of the game is. If you don't have any vision, back off a little bit. If you know they're all still at Drake and your team went into fight, don't TP bot. Don't go bot. Don't walk down there. Push and get more tower plates. Push and get more towers. And just trade objectives the best you can. Now, say you are playing in a game you didn't do so hot. You are an inting bitch, and you're just not doing well, and your team's doing okay. You got to look at the game. Look at how it's doing. Can you help your team in team fights? Are you useful in team fights? If not, don't team fight. If you're going to lose the team fight, don't go to the team fight. Go to another lane. Try to solo lane as best you can. At this point in the game, late in the game, get that XP, get that gold for yourself. That way you can become stronger and play better later in the game. And maybe push objectives. A lot of players can push objectives. A lot of AD carries, a lot of top laners, a lot of junglers, a lot of different champions can push objectives. So you just want to learn to overcome what you're up against and not just take stupid all-in fights because it's late in the game. It's probably pointless and it's not going to help you. Even if you're behind, who cares? Give them that Drake. You maybe want to fight if it's Soul or Elder or Baron, but if you're going to lose, it's a moot point. It's pointless to try and fight it. So farm, do the best you can to get yourself up to par or more ahead, and that way you can better help your team win the game. And guys, that's going to be it for this video. I know I didn't cover everything. There is so many different variables in this game, but that is a good base to helping you get out of silver. If you have any further questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. I will get back to all of you and help you out as best I can. Also, I will be giving away one free coaching session to a silver player. All you have to do, leave a comment down below, say you need help, respond to my follow-up, and we will get a session figured out. I want to thank you all for watching this video. Have a great rest of your weekend, whatever the hell. I don't know when I'm posting this. Whatever the hell you're going into. And leave a like and hit that subscribe button.